I think your tenure as Secretary of Defense has been shameful and weak, and you should resign.
When Pat Ryan sat down with Pete Hegseth, no one expected fireworks. But what started as a calm discussion turned into a full-blown takedown. And by the end, Pete was left gasping for control.
I want to talk specifically about the events at Fort Bragg the other day. General Kane, I want to start with you. As a junior officer, were you ever required to make a pledge of political loyalty? Yes or no?
It's a simple question, but the weight behind it is massive. The kind of question that doesn't leave room for dancing around. The kind that forces Pete into a corner from the very start.
So, no.
Thank you. At any time in your 30-plus years of incredibly distinguished service, did you have to make a pledge of partisan or political loyalty?
No, sir.
Thank you. Did you ever serve in any unit or command at any level where service members were required to make a pledge of political loyalty?
No, sir.
Pat Ryan doesn't give Pete any breathing room. He lines up a series of yes or no questions. The answers are short, firm, and all point in the same direction. It simply never happened. This isn't casual back and forth anymore. Ryan is methodical, tightening the screws with each step, making sure there's no space left for hedging or spin.
One last question for you. Should soldiers have to pledge political loyalty to participate in an event with our commander-in-chief? Yes or no, please.
Sir, I'm not, first, no. I'm not aware of any time in history.
Ryan sharpens his focus with one final question aimed directly at the heart of the issue. Should service members ever have to prove political loyalty just to stand alongside their commander-in-chief? The general hesitates, searching for footing, but ultimately admits he's never seen anything like that, not in his entire career. He then turns the spotlight straight onto Fort Bragg, dragging the recent controversy into the center of the conversation, and Pete Hegseth suddenly finds himself staring at the very incident he was trying to ease his way around.
There was guidance put out, and this has been verified by multiple independent news outlets, saying, quote, these are to the soldiers of the 18th Airborne Corps and U.S. Army. If soldiers have political views that are in opposition to the current administration, then they need to speak with their leadership and get swapped out.
Ryan finally lays it all out. He brings up official guidance that had circulated among soldiers, verified by multiple outlets, suggesting that anyone who didn't align with the administration's politics should be replaced before the president's visit.
This is swapped out of the event with the president. In addition, in an incredibly disturbing incident, there was a pop-up shop selling MAGA merchandise on post at Fort Bragg.
The room stiffens because the evidence is right there on the table. And if that wasn't enough, Ryan adds fuel to the fire with reports of a pop-up stand selling political merchandise on the base itself. Every word feels heavier than the last. Ryan is now exposing, and Pete Hegseth, who started off speaking about unity and patriotism, is suddenly standing in the middle of something that looks a lot more like a scandal.
And to summarize this, there was a commander from Bragg who said on the record, quote, this has been a bad week for the Army, for anyone who cares about us being a neutral institution. This was shameful.
That's the breaking point. The tone in the room shifts completely. Ryan's calm, composed delivery only makes it sting more. Each fact he drops tightens the grip, leaving Pete with fewer ways out and a lot more to answer for.
Is that appropriate, General Kane?
Sir, I haven't seen any of these reports. I'm not familiar with them, but as I mentioned earlier and in my confirmation hearing, the nation demands a political, nonpartisan military.
Ryan doesn't stop. With the facts now on the table, he presses harder, asking if any of it could possibly be considered acceptable. The general hesitates. He admits he hasn't seen the reports himself, carefully choosing his words to avoid stepping into controversy. But even through the cautious tone, one thing is clear. He knows the military is supposed to stay above politics. His answer, though restrained, quietly confirms the very principle Ryan's been hammering all along. And with that, the tension deepens. Ryan's calm persistence keeps drawing sharper contrasts, while Pete Hegseth's position grows more uncomfortable by the second.
I appreciate you saying that and happy to share those reports. Secretary Hegseth, are you familiar with DoD Directive 1344.10? Political activities of the members of the armed forces?
Ryan acknowledges the general's careful response, but doesn't let the conversation drift. He pivots straight to Pete Hegseth, bringing up a specific Defense Department directive about political activity in the military. This move shifted the focus directly onto Pete, leaving no space to hide behind general statements or patriotic talk.
And that's
I reclaim my
insinuation.
time. Are you familiar with this DoD directive?
There's never one time in my service or in this
Mr.
Defense
Secretary, will
Department.
you please answer
I'm answering your
these
question
questions?
where politics has been considered for service members.
Are you familiar with this directive? Yes or no?
Which directive?
Ryan's tone sharpens. He repeats his question, this time aimed directly at Pete Hegseth. But instead of answering, Pete tries to steer the conversation somewhere else, dodging the point entirely. Ryan doesn't let him. He cuts in, forcing him back to the question at hand. The tension spikes. Pete starts to stumble, caught between defending his stance and avoiding a straight answer. Ryan demands clarity while Pete tries to regain control.
I'm sure I am.
Has anything changed in that directive under your guidance, given what happened 2 days ago at Fort Bragg? Is there a new policy change that we're not aware of?
Again, I totally reject your insinuation.
Is there a policy change to DoD Directive 1344.10?
I know what you're attempting to insinuate, but there's
I'll
no
take that as a
policy
no.
change.
Ryan presses again, this time tightening his focus even more. He asks if anything in the long-standing directive has changed under Pete's leadership, given the mess at Fort Bragg. It's a direct challenge that demands a clear, factual answer. Pete fires back defensively, rejecting the premise entirely. His tone hardens, almost irritated, as he insists nothing has changed. But by now, the dynamic has shifted. Ryan's calm, surgical questioning has peeled away the talking points, leaving Pete on edge and increasingly reactive.
Mr. Secretary, have you ever worn a MAGA hat in front of the troops?
I own plenty of MAGA hats, but I don't.
Have you ever
know that I
worn
have.
one in front of the troops at an official event? I don't
I'm
believe
aware
so.
of.
I don't believe so.
Just when it seems Ryan's finished, he drops a question that cuts through the formalities completely. He asks something that ties the whole discussion back to actions, not policies. Pete hesitates. His confidence falters for the first time. The pause is noticeable, the answer uncertain. It's the kind of hesitation that tells the story all on its own. Ryan doesn't need to say much more. The point's already made. After all the talk about neutrality and loyalty, one shaky response suddenly says everything about where the lines might have blurred.
Do you think it's appropriate for the President of the United States to wear political merchandise, including a MAGA hat, at official events, including West Point commencement?
The commander-in-chief
Yes or no?
can wear whatever hat he wants, to include the phrase "Make America Great Again," because I would like to
you
make
think
America
that's-
great again as well.
So you think that's appropriate?
Pete doubles down, defending the choice outright. His tone stiffens, his words more forceful now, as if trying to reclaim the upper hand. But by this stage, the tension has already peaked. Ryan's calm persistence and Pete's defensive stance tell two very different stories. The exchange ends, but the atmosphere doesn't ease.
Okay, I strongly disagree with you. And I urge you both, especially you, General Kane, as we see an increasingly political rhetoric, including from the Secretary, to please, for the good of our troops, this is an incredibly difficult moment, and we need leaders like you to continue to echo the apolitical nature.
He pushes back hard against Pete's stance, making it clear he believes the line between politics and service should never blur. The way he turns to the general, urging him to protect that apolitical standard, gives the room a sudden quiet weight. It's no longer just about who's right or wrong. It's about what's at stake if the military ever stops being neutral. Ryan's words land heavy, not as an attack, but as a reminder. And in that moment, it's clear. This wasn't just a debate, it was a warning.
Mr. Secretary, I don't say this lightly. I have to say this on the record. I think your tenure as Secretary of Defense has been shameful and weak, and you should resign.
After holding back for so long, he finally lets it out, calling out Pete's leadership right there in front of everyone. The tension that had been building from the very start finally snaps. Ryan's composure never cracks, but his words hit like a verdict. What began as questioning ends as a call for accountability, direct, fearless, and impossible to ignore.